this talk twice. And that is the first time in my life I've ever given the same talk twice. And guess what? I'm giving it the third time today. But I do love it. Yeah, and so the title is, Who Are You Really? And I really am celebrating Canada Day this year. We just had it this past week. And you know, Canada is having a moment right now. Have you noticed? Yes. We are having a moment, right? And as we all know, we may have experienced nationally a bit of a betrayal, politically and economically, from a close ally to the south. And what that has done is I think it has really sparked, and certainly for me anyway, it has sparked this moment of, wait a second, as Canadians, who are we really? Because I know for myself, I'd sort of taken for granted, we're kind of American-ish, right? We're like polite and we say sorry more. We're a little more soft-spoken, but we're pretty much the same. And that's sort of how I lived. And then with everything that's happened, I was like, oh, wait a minute. That's not who we are. We're Canadians. And we have some very distinct parts of being Canadian. One of the things we talked about earlier with the territory acknowledgement is reconciliation. That is a huge part of our Canadian identity. So I see this opportunity, having this betrayal that we had and this interesting political time as an opportunity for us to really wake up and say, who are we really? And I think that might be the gift in everything that's going on. Because honestly, I know I was very complacent in the, we're like them pretty much. But I'm really spending a lot more time thinking about, oh no, what does it mean to be Canadian? So, that works for us on a national level, but I also see that is a personal and individual thing too. And so I experienced quite a significant betrayal in my life several years ago. And I've spent actually the last few years, because of that moment, it really gave me the opportunity to get clear on who am I really. And part of that has been, moving to the island, starting up my career here and building friendships and community and all of that stuff and starting ministry. And I've had the opportunity to look at, but who am I really? And one of the things that really was helpful for me is I have this group of ministers that get together, and it's our regional meeting that we get together once a month. Oh, that's going to fall. And one of the ministers, actually, it was from another minister, Reverend Kathy Ann Lewis, who is at CSL Seattle. And she had this prayer that really has helped guide me. And it's, God, show me that which is mine to do and remove from me all that is not. I remember who I am and why I am here, and time expands to embrace all that is mine to do. Isn't that beautiful? And that's one of the lessons I got out of this last few years of really living this experience of learning who I am, is I'm equally learning who I am not. And I'm learning what is mine to do, and I'm equally learning what is not mine to do. So I've been doing this sort of experimental way of living where I let myself sort of like meandering down a stream with like rowing a little here and a little there, but really letting the current take me. And sometimes I get into something and I'm like, ooh, this doesn't feel right. And I just let myself move over to where the water's flowing and it's taking me in a better direction. And it's really created this opportunity for me to really clarify who I am. And what that's meant is that life has gotten very simple. It's really, for me, slowed down. And when I move into something and I'm like, that's not me, and move away, I don't have to make a story. I don't need to make those people or that thing wrong. I just that is not mine to do. Maybe that's someone else's to do, but I just move where it flows easily. So life gets really flowy. There's this ease. It's joyful. and it's a pretty beautiful place to be. So I loved this idea of frequency of authenticity, because that's, I think, what I've found, is that I've found it, and it's a place, it's my grounding. It's that place that I can center myself, and it's 3 deep breaths, right? I can be right there, and I can feel into whatever is in front of me, and whether it's mine or whether I'm just floating on by. So I talked last week, I was here a couple of weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I can't remember when, and I talked about ritual. And that, I think, is one of the keys to finding that who am I really? And we did this meditation this morning about tapping into that, because as soon as I ask myself that question, my mind has a whole lot of information. But once I quiet myself and I get into my heart and into kind of that real alignment with spirit, there is a whole different, and it's not words, it's more of a feeling, it's more of a flow, and that's when I know, oh, this is who I am really. So if we kind of boil it down to kind of new thought, if we just had 3 principles of new thought and who we are really and what it tells us, one is that there's only one thing happening. There is spirit and absolutely nothing else. So that we call it love here. There is that love, that light, that power, that presence, and that is all there is. So it is in me, it's in each one of us, it's through us, it's as everything we do. And when you think about that it's all interconnected, that there is that one infinite source, you don't really have to try so hard. There's not so much need for struggle, right? We get to just align with it, and then we get to choose. We're like, I like that. I'm going to go with that. Not so much. I'll let that go. And we easily move through life. And I'm not saying that as like tomorrow you can just start this and the path gets easy. It's taken me some bumping into my own rocks and stone walls of my own that I think, okay, that was not it, another lesson learned. But as I practice this, I'm finding life is getting way flowier and way, way more simple. So I officiated a wedding yesterday in Qualicum, and it was beautiful. And I met the couple, and they had a fantastic wedding planner. And when I met them over a year ago, they said, we are clear. We only want to work with really fantastic people. We want people who get along, people who are joyful, people who have just the right attitude, and that's what we're doing. And I was like, that sounds great to me, because that's what I'm trying to do in my own life. And I got there yesterday, and I got to say, you could feel it. There were, I think she said, 22 different vendors that were all helping make this wedding work, and it was sweet and lovely. Everybody got along. The family was all happy, and even the kids. And I mean, kids, let's face it, they are the loose cannons of a wedding. And they were little. The littlest one was 4. Even I think they were just so immersed in that beautiful, collaborative, cohesive energy that they did really well. Even the little flower girl we weren't so sure about. She was great. So it was such a great example to be in that place and to be in that space of, I can choose to be around the people that I want to be around, to do the projects I want to do. And life leaves us clues. We know, have you had that feeling where you're doing something and you're like, these are not my people, this is not my thing, but I keep showing up because of whatever story I've made up in my head. But when we let that go, we really do get sort of brought into this flow of our lives. So yesterday was actually my birthday, and so I did a wedding, and then I went out for supper for my birthday in Qualicum, and there's a little restaurant in the airport in Qualicum, and that was my choice for my birthday. And it was just me and Derek and one of my bestie friends and my dad and my stepmom. And what I realized in my life now that I'm living in this much more pure, simple way is it is just perfect for me. And honestly, I don't know that it's spectacular to anybody outside of me. I'm not sure anybody would say that's my dream for my birthday, but for me, it was the greatest. We laughed, we spent hours there, we shut down the restaurant, although it was Qualicum, so let's face it, the sun hadn't actually set yet. But we had such a great time. But that to me is the key, is once you find who am I really, then everything that is yours and to have and to be and to do and to express comes in, and all the rest falls away. And our job is to just not hold on to that and just to allow us. Because when I allow myself to be the most me I am, that allows you to be the most you are, and each one of us does that. That's what we do in spiritual community. That's what we do when we show up here. And so, as I mentioned, all of this came together really fast today, and this morning I happened to be scrolling on Facebook for a minute and saw this little passage from Meryl Streep, and I thought it was the perfect way to end this talk today. So this is what she had to say. She said, "Let things fall apart. Stop exhausting yourself trying to hold them together. Not everything is meant to last forever, and forcing what is already breaking will only drain you. Sometimes the best thing you can do is let go. Let people be upset. Let them misunderstand you. Let them criticize and judge. Their opinions are reflections of their own perceptions, not a measure of your worth. You do not need to explain yourself to those who are committed to misunderstanding you. You are not responsible for how others choose to see you or how they react to your truth. Stop fearing the unknown. Stop asking, where will I go? What will I do? As if the universe has not already carved out a path for you. Loss can feel unbearable, but sometimes it's simply clearing the way for something better. What is meant to leave will leave, no matter how desperately you try to hold on. Whew, that was a lesson for me. What is meant to stay will find a way, no matter how uncertain things seem. Life always finds a way to balance itself, even when we can't see how. There is a rhythm to life, a natural order of endings and beginnings. When we resist that flow, we create suffering. We cling to what is breaking, fearing that nothing good will replace it. But this is an illusion. The universe is abundant, constantly unfolding new opportunities, new love, and new purpose. The only thing keeping you from it is your attachment to what no longer belongs to you. Isn't that sweet?